Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of This Full Life. I think you are just going to really love this episode. I'm super excited. I think I'm always excited every week because there always gets to be something new and more exciting. I mean, the whole basis of This Full Life is because I love learning. And so we're going to learn today. We're going to learn about names, the vibrations behind names. We're going to learn well, let me just read to you and then you can, and then we will go from there. So when you think about your own attraction to people, to brands, to businesses, when you read their names for the first time or you feel an attraction to them, it's because the energy of their names have held or pushed you away, have brought them to you. It's the reason that all names carry a vibration. And so it's also the reason why when some brands, you say the name, you hear the name, you realize that is a rockin' brand. Or conversely, you hear the name or you say the name and that brand has fizzled out. It just doesn't even resonate. It's the vibration that these words hold, that these letters hold. It's the numerology behind the vibration behind the names. And so my guest today, Barbara, is just going to rock your socks off with all the knowledge that we're going to talk about today about names. So Barbara, welcome to the show.
Hello, Tara. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
And hello, everyone. My name is Barbera Ammahlia Schaefer-Berdner. I don't normally recommend such a mouthful for people.
Thank you. And I knew you would say it, so perfect, because I could have botched it again.
I'll tell you a little bit about me, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my name, and then how that relates, and we can talk a little bit about how names and,
Yeah.
Great. Is that what you'd like me to do? Okay. So first of all, what we're here to talk about today, as Tara had mentioned, is around names and around the energy, the vibrational energy, attraction or repelling energy around names. And that includes your own name, your business name, book names, URLs, all of them hold attraction energies. And I call it spiritual numerology. You might have heard of numerology before, where you get your life plan number. So you get one number that, lays out what your life is like. And, and I've done those, in years past. And I was like, yeah. And there's a lot more to me than that. Well, we're going to back up a little bit. 21 years ago, I had a head injury and a death experience. And after that death experience, I had a lot of health issues, so we won't go into that just yet, but we'll try to stay away from that, but I had a lot of health issues. And previously, I was a mechanical engineer, studied alternative energy systems, was a high-powered, back in the late 80s, big high-powered engineer for the largest utility company in America, and, on the fast track, all that. Anyway, had this head injury, couldn't do math anymore, couldn't even walk 10 feet without passing out. And when people talked, like if they talked about a relationship and an issue they were having in a relationship, I would see numbers and symbols over their head. Well, it isn't even like today you could Google number and symbols over people's heads, but back in the late 80s, you really couldn't, okay? So I just went about my way of healing. And maybe about 7 years ago now, I think 7 years ago now, a friend was visiting. She was staying with me. She had this little brochure. It was all tattered. 11 years. She'd had it for 11 years. She'd been saving up the money to work with these people. Okay. And I opened it up and I went, ooh, light body surgery. That's for another talk. I need to do that. But they had some prerequisites. And prerequisites wasn't being offered for another 6 months or a year. But they had a class that wasn't a prerequisite. I went, it's next weekend. I got the money in my account. I'm going to take this class. And it was a class on soul contract reading. And that's what we're talking about with the energy and names. It's the soul contracts related to names, related to your business, the contract you made with the name of your business, the contract you made for the life that you came to experience here. So the fella says, would you like a reading? And I'm like, no, I just need the class. And he shakes his head at me because he knows, right? Anyway, I take the class. It's like an 8-week long class, twice a week for 3 hours. It's shifted in the way it's done, but back then it was. And in the first day of class, I remembered. I mentioned earlier that I had had a death experience. Came back seeing these numbers and symbols. Well, those numbers and symbols were exactly what this man was teaching. So, woo-wee-woo. And so I loved it because I already have, and I share that part of the story because I have a visceral connection to this information, right? It matters to me. It's something that I learned either, who knows, lifetimes ago or during this death experience. It doesn't matter. It's that I find it to be true. All right. So it's numerology. And as Tara mentioned earlier, it's based on the letters within a name. Okay. Now that's we won't get into the whole details of it, but that's for English speaking names. All right. Because it's really based on Hebrew. That's not based on the Jewish religion, not in any way. It's based on Hebrew. Hebrew is one of the 7, some people say 9, we'll just go with 7, sacred languages of God, meaning it's one of the original languages that didn't get changed a whole lot by people. And so we kind of have this little conversion where we convert from Hebrew, from English into Hebrew and then into these right. numbers and add them up in a special way. Okay. For non-English names, there's another way to do it, but we won't get into that because that's super advanced. Okay. So that's a little bit about the philosophy, about the way that it goes. I'll tell you a little bit because you might not know about soul contracts, and I know I can feel it. Tara's got all kinds of questions she wants to ask me.
I do, but I'm just loving listening because I know you and I have already had a personal conversation, and so because I learned so much the first time, I'm hearing stuff that I'm sure I heard, but I didn't process the first time. So I'm just enthralled.
And even with this recording and with probably everything, having met Tara before, probably everything that Tara does, I'm going to recommend to you that you listen to it a few times, because each time you listen, you're going to hear something that you weren't able to hear before. And I know Tara's energy, so I know that she can kind of shift things when you think she's just talking about the weather. So,
right.
So this one and all the ones that Tara does. So mentioned having this death experience. So again, I saw this waiting line of souls wanting to come down here and have this experience, be in a body here on earth. And you're like, you're kidding. Really? There was a waiting line? Why would anybody want this? Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, at least having been out of my body, sex just isn't the same up there. Okay. Food isn't the same up there. And we really did want to come here and have this wide variety. I call them the good, bad, seemingly good, bad, and indifferent emotions. Because kind of up there, and if you want to call it heaven, the universe, source, whatever, it's like it's all love. Okay?
Yep.
But we came here to bring all that here, right? So what does that mean with your soul's contracts? Well, first of all, you came down here to learn stuff. All right? This is big old schoolhouse earth, and we learn things by good and bad. We're going to call it good and bad. Just in the same way that when we're looking for a partner, the saying is we kiss a lot of frogs, okay? So that you go out and date and you go, can't put up with that. But I kind of like this. So then you date some more and you go, oh, not that, right? And then you date some more and you go, well, you know what? I could put up with that, okay? So it's about learning, right? Well, when we are born, and our name gets written onto our birth certificate, that name is a contract. That name goes up to the heavens, or if you are metaphysically trained, we're going to call it the Akashic Records. And it goes into the library and says, ooh, this is the contract of Tara's life this time. Okay? And that's where this mathematical formula comes from. It's about 98% accurate. Okay, I'm not going to say it's 100% because there's always unique individuals,
Free
right?
will.
Exactly. And so this name, and so what happens is if you think of it, you think of your life, the experiences of your life like a cake. So the spongy part of the cake is your birth name. So for example, my birth name was Barbara Ann Schaefer, right? Then my everyday name, common name, is icing, which was Barbara Schaefer. And I actually used that for a long time. My husband and I have been together for 38 years, and only a few years ago did I add his name to mine. I know, finally decided I was going to stay with him. I don't know, right? No, I do know why.
Late.
Yeah. So that icing. And then I changed my name and got another layer of icing. And then in the meantime, I'd started a business, and that's another layer of soul contract icing. And then your URL if you're an entrepreneur, and then your signature package, and they all matter. And just like on a cake, the right icing makes the cake, or the bad icing kind of messes up the cake. All right. So in that same way, in that same philosophy.
Okay, so now that you have laid out that groundwork, yes, I'm so ready to dive in with questions. And so, okay, so and I will just use myself as an example. Okay, so when we came in, and we've come in with our name, and we've got, our first, our middle, and our last name that we're born with. Then some of us get married. And so then we come in with that name as well. Well, not come in, excuse me. Then we shift to that name as well.
Choose it, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. And so all of that holds an energy, good, bad, or indifferent. And so what I hear you say, or maybe what I'm interpreting, is that there is an energy, a vibration that's held, whether it's dense, whether it's really high, that's held with that name that you've pre-chosen, that is almost kind of leading you through your life. And every time you say that name, every time someone says it to you, is that vibration of the name, correct?
Very much so, yes.
Okay, so what if we have evolved through our life and we get to a point where we have just up-leveled and up-leveled and up-leveled, and we just feel like there's something I need to shift, and we find our way to you. And let's say that the name that we chose initially to inhabit the earth with isn't serving us anymore. What now?
That's how I got this long old name, all right? So I'd done a lot of I'd had this death experience. That in itself is a spiritual awakening, okay? I'd done a lot of emotional work, and I got introduced to this work, and I realized that, wow, I could put a new layer of icing on my cake and dissolve all the yucky parts, okay? In addition to the healing I've already done. I'm not saying it's the only thing. It's a piece of your life's recipe, all right, as I like to look at it, right? So you would come to me and you would, give me a list of what's all the stuff you are done with, just done with, okay? And a list of what you want to bring in. So for example, in my case, number one for me is, even though my husband and I had been together for 36, 34, anyway, over 30 years at the time, I wanted us to be closer. Okay, even closer, right? We've been married for a while. Things are kind of, you get a little bit bored, and I just wanted us to be closer and more intimate. Plus, I had a soul contract of doing everything the friggin' hard way, and I wanted to be done with that one. And around disempowerment, mistrust, betrayal, and really being afraid for the world to see who I really was.
Okay, and so let me just break in real quick. So you realized all of these, you knew all these components about what you were done with that energy that you were done with and the vibration that you were done with. Did you look this up? Or is this at the point where you started realizing that our names had these vibrations? Like, how did you know it was within the name?
I already knew that I was done with some of it. Okay, I was already familiar with some of it because I was a mature emotional woman, right? Emotionally mature woman. I had been doing my stuff. And then I was introduced to this work, and of course got a soul contract reading as part of it, and went, oh my word, really? Really, I signed up for this. I mean, what was I thinking? Oh, that's right, I wasn't thinking.
Can I take this back?
Exactly. And so that it lays the foundation of changing your name to have better energies with a better life, is to understand, what did you first ask for, right? And so the process is called name optimization, and it's optimizing your name for your life. So we look at, what did you originally sign up for, as crazy as that might be, all right? We look at, are you married? We look at your spouse's soul contracts, okay? Do you want to stay with your spouse? Do you want to break up? Most of the people who come to me that are still with their spouse want a little tweak on staying with them, but sometimes it's like, I'm done. There was one lady who came to me and said, I'm done. I can't seem to divorce him. It doesn't matter. You know, we just need to get through this, okay? If you have children living at home, we look at that. We look at their energies, okay? And we look at what you want in your life. So we look at the entire life, right? And then look at, what do you want to bring through? And then start looking at names. And then things like, in my case, I've been using Barbara for 50 some years, okay? I'm coming up on 59 now. So I wanted to keep my first name, right? Okay. And then wanted to have my husband and I to be closer. I mentioned to him I was looking at changing a name. And I said, I'm looking at, adding your name. And his eyes got really big, like he was really excited. And I went, oh, no big deal. I'll just add it. Like,
right.
it was really, not that it mattered that I didn't, but it obviously mattered that I was planning on adding. So I went, okay, that's another requirement. It's got to include John's name. And then, just in the same way that we said words have vibrations, you've probably heard about, like, statements and like intentions and law of attraction. All right. So I said, I want to keep Barbara. I'd like a normalized name, not some horribly Alibaba name, as I call it. Okay. And unfortunately, I said, and I don't want, you don't say that to the universe. I said, I don't want a long old name.
You got it. You got 4.
And I got 4, and it's hard to spell, and it's long. And I promise you, I am amazing at this, Tara. I am amazing at it. And it didn't matter. 6 Ways to Sunday had other practitioners working with me. This was the name. The amazing part is, this is the name, because this is my life. And those things that I needed a little extra help with, in addition to the healing work that we all do for ourselves, right? Icing on the cake, literally.
Well, and when you said your name, I just want to say, when you said your name at first, it feels so good to hear it. Which is why I think I let you say your name, because it feels really good to hear your name.
It does. Those people, even people that aren't attracted, meaning like people who don't click with me, still love hearing my name, right? Barbera Ammahlia Schaefer-Berdner.
It feels very soothing.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. So it's in a very gentle way, helping you, catalyze you, burn through the stuff that no longer serves you, because that's a bit of my other work that I do, but that's also what the names do, right? It helps to burn through that in a loving, caring, trusting way, filled with abundance and authenticity. And the complete, like, here I am. You got me. Good, bad, and indifferent. Yes, I have a personality. I still get my feelings hurt. All of that. Yet, it's okay.
And so each time that you say that, your name, that vibration is what I think I'm hearing you say. That vibration resonates through you, and it also resonates through everyone else that hears your name. And so that vibration, does it up-level the people that are hearing your name when you speak it? What does it do for the person that's listening? Besides, like, when you say it, like, I feel really good and soft.
For those that I'm intended to connect with, they lean in.
Yeah.
They lean in. All right. The other part is, every time that I write it or say it, it further anchors in my physicality. The way that I describe it is, early on our spiritual or emotional maturity path, we often begin to learn to meditate, to get out of our mind. All right. I was already out of my mind, but that's a whole nother. But to get out of the monkey mind, the mind chatter, and literally connect to source. And we often connect to source out of our bodies when we're meditating. Okay. Or you want to float, transcendental meditation. I almost did that one time and kind of freaked me out. But anyway, for me anyway, meditation was a lot of connecting, but not in my body. All right. So the work that I do with people is around connecting in your body. So by having this new set of soul's contracts and using this name, both written even matters even more because it's more around me writing it, typing it, anchoring it in here. So those energies are anchored in here so that they come from me. When we talk about, that energy of love and truth and enlightenment and unity, right? That allows that energy to come from me, if that makes sense.
It does. And so if you were to have if you were not to have added these names and kept your old, vibrationally, it would still be hard. It almost feels like you'd be trudging through what you were trying to accomplish.
Yes, it's not, it was a piece of my recipe, which is why that's the case. It's not a piece for everybody's recipe. Okay, it's not. But it is for those of us, a lot of us that are on the spiritual path. We're like, I've been thinking about changing my name, or I went through a divorce. Okay, I went through a divorce and I know I need to change my name, but it's not my maiden name and it is not my old married name. Okay, right. We know this, right? So yes, in my case, the birth name of Barbara Ann Schaefer carried the energy of attracting mistrust and betrayal and abandonment.
Interesting.
Of attracting disempowerment. Now, why? So that I could learn from it. Now, just in the same way that with a name optimization, that my new name is more balanced is really what it is. Okay, and with the old name, with my birth name, Barbara Ann Schaefer, first of all, it was out of balance. Energetically, it was out of balance. So it was just kind of heavy. All right. Yes, I had worked through a lot of that stuff. So I could still be Barbara Ann Schaefer and still exude the energies that I do. That's not an issue. It's that to make it easier and faster, changing my name was kind of a, when you put, when you forget to put the vanilla in your cookie recipe, all right? To me, the name optimization is like adding that, a little extra vanilla, which is my secret for chocolate chip cookies, by the way.
Right.
So it helps that way. So for me, it's more balanced. It more fits who I am now that I've grown, right? And so it more so it helps those people that are meant to connect with me or I'm meant to connect with. They lean in. I mean, how many times do people go, I don't know why, but I'm supposed to talk to you.
Oh gosh, all the time.
Right, I know. Right. Or, I have no idea what this stuff is that you're talking about, but I know I need to do it. And with you. Okay?
Yes.
It's a soul resonance. It's their soul, their higher self is connecting with my soul, my higher self, and going,
hey, we're here together.
With a clear connection, if that makes sense. I talk often about, I used to be, a mechanical engineer. So, I talk about the wiring, our energy fields are our wiring. Our name is part of our wiring, part of that vibrational frequency that we exude. And so when I've got one that's this way, those people who like that or attracted to that, come to that. People who go, ooh, not my thing, no, right away. Not my thing, and they go the other way. So it saves all of us a lot of time.
So if we want to change our name, and so we've been listening to everything that you're saying, and we have a session with you, and we decide, oh my gosh, yes, all of the things that you just, so like your examples of what you came in this world to, in this lifetime to learn, that you realized Yes, I'm done. I have learned all that stuff. I'm really ready to let that go. What if there's not a name that's coming to mind for them of like, yeah, I really am ready to change. I'm really ready to let this stuff go, but I don't know what that other piece is.
Well, I give everybody the same homework. We're going to call it homework. And everybody who's listening to this, you can do the homework yourself, right? You don't need to talk to me to get the homework, except that sometimes, for example, I believe that we all can do 80% of our own, at least 80% of our own healing ourselves. When I say healing, growth, figuring life out, letting go of old patterns. Okay, I really know and believe that we can do at least 80% of that on our own. And for anywhere from 10 to 20%, I've found that most of the people in my circle need an expert, okay, to point them in the right direction. All right. So most of the time, if you do this homework, and I'll give you the list, you do this homework, you'll be able to come up with a list. And even in the list, you might say, ooh, I don't like any of them. It's okay. Because in the list are some energies. And then if you come to someone like me, I can tell you what the energies are that you're looking for, that your heart and soul keep craving. Okay? Sometimes, though, our first session is, all right, let's open up the space. Let's do a quick little clearing of what's blocking you. And then you go off and do some more homework. All right? Or, truthfully, Tara, most of the time, like right then and there, some inspiration comes through and you go, but that sounds dumb. And I'll go, well, let's look at it. So the homework is, first of all, what parts of your name are you adamant you've got to keep? Okay, like in my case, Barbara. All right. What parts of your life are you wanting to let go of? Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is, what parts of your life would you like to bring in more of? All right, more love. We'll say, here's the common ones: worthiness, love, abundance, empowerment. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then all kinds of words that describe those things.
Yep.
All right. It's pretty much what they all boil down to. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it can include, like, some people just know in their heart of hearts that they're supposed to be speaking on the stage. All right. So you put that on. It's just part of you. Just know, I don't know why this seems crazy. You need to put it down. And then you take those 2 lists, especially the list of what you want, and I call it meditate. All right. Do it in many ways. You can lay it against your heart, close your eyes. Okay?
I did that and I fell asleep. Yes, as part of my homework, I had right here. Here's all my stuff, right? And so I laid on my chest and I really was just, actually, first of all, I did this. Because I thought, oh, I'm so going to bring this down into my body. And then I thought, oh, no, I just need to do this for a little bit. And then I thought, wow, I need to lay down. And so I laid down and, oh, my gosh, within a couple of minutes, I was just zonked. But it's interesting because normally when that happens and I can feel how deep I've been when I, come back and wake up. And I think it was only like 10 minutes probably, but it was just an almost immediate knockout. And then usually I have like some really big ahas or realizations, and I didn't. So I'm waiting. We have a session tomorrow.
We'll see. Everybody's process is different. When it comes to a personal name, typically, but even our business name. Okay, we'll back up. Relationships are our greatest source of personal and spiritual growth. They are.
Sing that one.
Okay, they are. And it's the relationship with ourselves to our pets, ourselves to our family, ourselves to the world, ourselves to our businesses. All right? So it's a catalyzer. Our names, right, can catalyze us also. There are times, it's more common that people bring stuff through, okay? It really is. It's more common that they just, they say, you know what, I don't even like, I'm just going to write down these names. I saw a name on a billboard. What the heck, okay? And it leads us to where we need to go, all right? Sometimes, and I find this especially with a person's name, is that, or at least we'll use me for example, so I'm an expert at this, and even though I found this name, this was an interesting thing. I found this name several years ago, but I took 2 years before I started using it because I didn't feel like it was me just yet. It wasn't me yet. All right. Now that's unusual too. All right. Because usually you're like, yet what I had decided was I didn't want to change my name 20 times. I didn't want to like grow, change my name, grow, change my name, grow, change my name. All right. So I decided to hold off on the name, grow, and then use the name. So even in the case of you, that can be the case sometimes. Like when I tell people, I said, you don't have to have, yes, have some quick session with me to make certain the name that you're using is at least not horrific. Okay, really. Okay, and I do that through a virtual coffee chat. I'll tell you through a virtual coffee chat. Your name horrific, just go with it, right? Because in the going with it, you grow and you expand, and then the name that you're intended to have can often come through. So sometimes when you talk to me and I give you a quick peek, it's like, well, it's not bad. You can have a better URL and then run with it from a business name perspective. All right. But kind of back to, you did the and then the heart and you fell asleep. All right. And then you take your blank piece of paper. All right. And any word that comes to mind to you is inspiration. You see some flowers, you go, oh, I like hummingbirds. Okay, I like hummingbirds. Okay. You mentioned before we got on, I have to turn the bird music off. Okay, you like birds, you like flying, you like, these kinds of things. When it comes to a personal name, people might say, I always kind of like my grandmother's middle name. It was Bertha, right? It doesn't matter, right? It just, really reminds me of my grandma. And so, you just write them down without any judgment. Just write them down, okay? I like to, so when I say meditation, I like to feel it, hold on to it, and then go out for a walk in nature and literally let it go out of my mind that I'm looking for the name, but be open to inspiration. So then either once you have your list or when you don't have a list, who knows, maybe from us having an interview tonight, you might go, oh, and what about this? And what about this? All right. So then we get together. Yeah. So then you get together, and it makes sense to me too, because that's, I really felt the urgency to do this interview with you. Like, there's plenty of time. Barry's been doing this for a while. Why do I have to do this now? Right.
Right. I know. And we just have to follow it because, how many times does it take us to learn to just follow our instinct? And then afterwards, we'll figure it all out.
Right. Exactly. So then you bring your list to me, or your no list, but we'll say most people come to me with their list. And then before we get together, I go through the energies of all those. I see what you're trying to draw. I see what your list says you're trying to draw through, and then I see what your soul's trying to draw through. Okay. And then I can point to, this one's not such a great energy for attraction, but I can see why you need to work through it, give you some hints on that. And most of the time, really, for most of the people that I work with, within a session or two, we come up with a name that they're looking for. So when I say name, because it could be your personal name, or for an entrepreneur, it could be your business name, your URL, and your your signature program. And normally it's within a single session, maybe two.
And so, okay, this is a great time, excuse me, to segue into the business. So when someone is creating a new business, creating a new system within their business, and so, there are businesses that when you say them, it just creates this vibe within you. Like you're so excited to see this brand. I just ordered from a company called Lively. And it's really fun. It's lively. Really, that's the name of the brand. And it's, And so there are other brands that you say that you're just kind of like trudging through the name. And then, 2 months later, you realize they've gone out of business. And so, what is that? It's the same energy, I know. And I know that you haven't worked with every single person on the planet. So how is it that we've come up with these names, or other people that have come up with these names? Lively, for example, which is great. It's about bras. Regardless, I love the name.
So, as you know, so I said earlier, relationships are our greatest source of personal and spiritual growth. That includes our businesses. So there are many factors to the perfect chocolate chip recipe to an amazing business. One is your business is going to push your buttons, and you had better be able to work through those. Okay, and that's the other work that I do, right? So your business is going to push your buttons, and push your buttons about being seen, about being heard, about worthiness, about money, about relationships. I mean, you know, right? It just pushes your buttons. So that's one piece. So let's say you got that pretty well under control, okay? Then you got the other piece of, you know, just regular old business things of systems and getting them in place, and, you know, professionalism, and, you know, front door, even though like our front door is on the internet, okay? Our front door is, we do our sessions via Zoom. And then another piece of energy, there's many others, but another big chunk of energy is the energy of the name. So if you think of it, think of our businesses, even though our businesses are online, think of it as if we were a brick and mortar business, or even in a brick and mortar business, okay, where you have an actual building, all right? And when energy shifts, I burp, and I've been trying not to burp this entire interview, but
Me too.
I was doing it quietly.
Mute and burping.
I've been doing it in the background. So, so all of you listening, if you're yawning while you're listening to me and Tara, it is not because you're tired. It's because something unconscious is shifting and being released. All right, let it go and keep on listening. Okay, so how I look at it is that a name is like this outer shell, okay, like the brick and mortar business, okay? And how I describe it is, in a business name, there are three energies that describe your business name. The first energy is called foundation. I call it the front porch, okay? Because it's the one that is the first energy that they feel, that they go, is that for me? Is it not for me? Okay, is that scary? Is it, right? And then the next energy is called the talent. It's what the business does for people, all right? How it does it for people, all right? So in the case of this building, I say that's like the living room, okay? You know, and then the success is what you get when you walk out the door, okay? Right? So there's these three energies. So there's the front porch, foundation, the talent, how does this business do this, and the success, what do people get out of it? What does the business owner get out of it? Okay, those three energies. So if you can imagine that, then that encapsulates the person who's got the business, the way they do the business, and the product that they are presenting. Okay, so there's all kinds of recipes, except that if your container for this business has one of, here's a real popular one. When I say popular, all of us love truth. We want truth, okay? We resonate with truth. Well, guess what? We all want it, but first it's going to piss you off, okay?
Right.
And most of us go, oh, I don't see, I don't want to hear it, okay? So what happens is sometimes people, their soul is like, I'm all about truth, and I want the energy of truth, and so they put truth at their front door. Well, everybody walks out and goes, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
With so the blinders on, of course.
Yes, it makes the business invisible.
Okay? Yeah, it kind of makes people run the other way.
Yes. The same with how many of us talk about empowerment.
Right.
I want to be empowered. I want to be empowered. I want to be empowered. You want to know, my experience is,
right,
everybody wants to be empowered. And the reason is because they're scared to death of their own power.
Okay? Oh, gosh, yes. Yes.
Okay? They're scared to death of their own power, which is why they want to be empowered. All right? I own that myself. Okay? Oh my gosh, I have sessions with clients and I'm like, oh my gosh, did that just happen? Really? It's a little scary. Okay? So this is the way we're talking about good power.
Yes.
Right? Good power. Same thing with, because we're so attracted to power and we want to catalyze and we want to do all this work. I love dragons, by the way. As you can tell, I've got a dragon here, and I've got my little stuffed animal dragons, and I've got all kinds of dragons, right? Well, dragon energy in this system, dragon energy is very catalyzing, okay? And it's empowerment energy, all right? And a negative side, it's disempowerment. So many of us want to come into our power and we want power. So sometimes people will bring forth energies in their business name of catalyzing, which that sounds amazing, doesn't it? But let me tell you, if you've got one of these scary dragons at your front porch,
right,
all those people who need empowerment are really afraid of it. So they're going to see the dragon run the other way. Well, not the dragon, because actually a lot of my clients need empowerment, but they love dragons, so they come to that. But meaning you don't have this fire-breathing dragon at your front porch.
Right.
Okay? You have something a little gentler, a little softer, a little cozier, okay?
Yeah.
And then when they walk out the door, they get the dragon, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's how the business creates this shell, the structure, the cake from which you get the flavors and the taste and all of that. Now, are there successful businesses who have horrible names? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say that when I've looked at them, part of it I'm going to say because the energies of, let's say, 20 years ago were not as requiring of alignment. For those people that are attracted to you, Tara, they are people who energetically know that every day is about being more and more and more in alignment. And for those people that know alignment is part of their lives, their name, their business name gets included. So anything that's out of alignment is going to stall or stick or be a hinge point for the growth of their business. So instead, well, we just do all the easy parts in alignment, and then you can keep doing your personal work to be in alignment too, and then it goes easier. I mean, really easier. Like, I've been doing my work. I have great names. Now, the bad news is I have great names. So it means that for 5 years, I had a new name every 6 months to a year, okay? Because I would grow, need a new name, grow, and I'm good at it. So I would do that. And I also needed to experience it. You don't need to experience that.
Well, and I love that you just said, anyone that's attracted to me is continually evolving, which is what I'm doing, right? I'm just every day continually evolving and up-leveling and shifting and realizing. And so thanks for saying that, because that even more makes me want to hold my clients' feet to the fire with compassion. And I totally mean that, with compassion. But now I realize that, oh, okay, people that are attracted to me and that do come to me, that's their vibration too. Whether they're kicking or screaming, we're here to do the work together.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. And so alignment matters. It matters for you. It matters for your client.
Let's just touch on random names.
Yes.
Because I know that we talked right before this, because there are a couple of names that I've always wondered about.
I know, like totally shift the focus here. When all of you hear the names, you'll know why.
Right? Okay. Well, I looked at the time and we're getting close. So I wanted to just bring up these names because sometimes they might resonate with us. Sometimes you're like, oh God, where did this name ever come from? Who wrote this name down and made this name up? And what, And so, okay, the first word, vagina. So for me, when I say it, there's the word vagina, then there's the word penis. To me, penis always sounds softer to say, to hear. No pun. That's great. And vagina always sounds like even just the starting letter V. I don't know, something about it. It's just like, I don't know. Penis sounds softer to say. Vagina is like, vagina. But yes, I would love to hear your input with this. Yeah.
Right. So we pick, Tara, what are the energies in these words? And if we took this single word all by itself. Now remember that the energy will change if we make it plural. All right. It will change if we say the or a or and or whatever, like if we're thinking about businesses, but we'll just take a single word. All right. So the single word's interesting. I'm going to back up and I'm going to say, because one of the other ones that I chose was cancer. Okay.
Yes.
Because sometimes people hear cancer and they're like, oh, they just feel this, right? Excuse me, is that maybe the collective consciousness, the entire world's fear around cancer?
Right.
Now, having been through it myself, my husband having been through it, I'm going to tell you that trying to walk that path without fear is a challenging one. And it has nothing to do with my own. It has to do, because because I'm processing my own and, dealing with the world. Back to vagina. So Tara here, she's like, oh, okay. Yet the energy of vagina, if we're going to talk about it as a shell, let's pretend you're going to name your book Vagina. Okay. Actually a pretty decent book for a book name. Really.
Well, I did buy the book Pussy from Mama Gina.
Yeah.
Got that one on my shelf.
So vagina holds the energy of bringing large groups of people together. Okay. I know, it's kind of funny. I'm sorry, we're laughing because we already know the answer. Large groups of people together, quickly, very inviting, but mostly like real big, like I think of like a tribe, like I think of a gathering, okay?
Which is so feminine. That's what women are about.
I know. Is that so? I mean, and I'd never looked at this way before. We did it just like 2 minutes before we got on here. The ability is creative, and not only creative, but be able to see the big picture and choose from all the different energies of creation to hit the bullseye. Oh my word, is that a mother? A mother can do 20 things at once, all right, and hit the bullseye. And the success is love and abundance and trust.
Well, my vibration has shifted just from your explanation around the word vagina. It feels softer now.
No, an interesting one is penis. Oh my goodness. Interesting. Okay, so penis, remember I talked about, so again, if this is the shell, the front porch is empowerment. Okay? The front porch is power. Now, remember, we got the fire-breathing dragon, which we're going to call that disempowerment, out of balance, all right? How I like to describe empowerment is fire. I like to use a wood stove as an example, okay? So a wood stove, when a wood stove is balanced and it's contained and it knows its job, it's this amazing thing, can heat an entire house wonderfully and easily, okay? But if you touch it the wrong way, you're going to burn yourself, all right? So the foundation or the front porch of penis is empowerment, all right? So just in the same way, it can be a fire-breathing dragon, be a warm, loving wood stove, okay?
Really interesting.
I know. The ability, again, if you're going to name your book Penis, okay, or if you're going to name your son, well, you would need probably just one single name, but you know how sometimes spiritual people might have a single name, so that's where this would play out. The ability is to be able to ride the emotions, all right? Now, if we're going to think stereotypically, if we think of many men, who their wives can kind of like go all over the place and they stand there and go, "You done yet?"
I can relate.
Okay. And here's an interesting one. The success, okay, what comes on the other side is truth. Speaking truth. Bringing forth truth. It's actually, and truly, actually, as we talk about it, even like when we were kind of joking when you said earlier about, well, penis sounds sort of a soft energy, okay, is that it can either be, so the foundation can be, if it's in, if it's not in balance, it can be this, fire breathing, right? And the success is that truth. Remember where, oh, no, I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it, okay? But can really bring you to the truth of who you are.
So a really interesting combination.
Isn't that interesting?
Vagina and penis. As you just said that, I thought, what an interesting combination when the two of them are put together.
I know. I think it just gave me like an idea for a talk for sex shows or something.
Seriously. I mean, the conjoining of the two is pretty amazing.
Do we have a minute so I can share cancer? Because I'm finding this one very with my own. Okay. And like this might have to be that might be the name of my book. All right. So, well, really, I mean, part of my thing is I do work with people diagnosed with cancer. And the front door is channeling information from source, complete connection to source, trusting, all right, abundance. And we're going to say trusting the process and trusting your connection with God. Okay? God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, nature. Okay? The ability is connection to creator. Okay? To have lots of different choices. And to kind of, really, this energy is also, you mentioned free will earlier. There's actually a soul contract that's related to when people have that one, they have less free will than others. I got that one. Meaning that I cannot force anything. I need to make really good conscious choices. I need to head in a direction that feels right at this time. Mm-hmm. And what I know is if it's not right, I'll get moved over to another lane. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if you think of someone going through cancer, oh my gosh, isn't that true? Because you're laid out with all this, you're going to do surgery, you're going to do chemo, you're going to do radiation, what the doctors say you need to do, and then people that you got to do, nutrition, and it's all being thrown at you, right? And you need to connect with your own creation. What can you do to create healing? Mm. And the success is authenticity, bringing your divine right people together. Is that wild? And I'm getting chills on that one, chills of truth. Meaning
yes,
that,
because look what you're doing.
Yeah.
Really eye-opening.
Right. Where the collective consciousness, though, here's cancer.
There's fear.
And there's all kinds of fear.
Mm-hmm. Fear of connecting to themselves, perhaps.
Yeah.
Fear of really that deep connection to creation, to their creator. Fear of opening up because, holy shit, there's a lot of work to do when you have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Really good call, Tara. I love that.
Yeah. This has just been so fantastic. Oh, I've loved this. Okay, so let us know how we can get in touch with you.
Well, I'm going to suggest that you go to namealchemy.net. All right? And at namealchemy.net, there's these are called opt-ins, right? And you can get a little ebook. It's just like about 13 pages long. And it talks a little bit about this naming and, how it's played out in people's lives and how it can help you. And it gives you some little hints, okay? So that's probably the best way. Or if you can figure out how to spell my name, you can find me on Facebook. But probably easier is on Facebook. Embody Light Body is my Facebook fan page. That's easier to spell.
Thank you. And if someone wants an appointment, like if someone has listened to this entire podcast video and says, oh yeah, I'm resonating and I want an appointment, where do we go?
Then I always recommend that we do an online coffee chat. That's how Tara and I met, right? A friend said, oh, you got to talk to Barbara. And we did a little online coffee chat. She went, oh, and I went, oh, I love meeting you. So it's complimentary. It's a complimentary online coffee chat. And you go to embodylightbody.com/connect. Easy. Okay? And there's a little thing there. You pick a date and time. I'm going to ask you a few questions. And it's free. It's a 50-minute free. We'll look at the names you've got. What's coming up for you? I'll answer a couple questions and make recommendations. And it's part of my gift of service. People are like, oh my gosh, you give that away for free? I do. It's my gift of service. It's sometimes that's all people need.
Which that for me was so eye-opening. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, I'm so looking forward to our session tomorrow because it's just going to open up doors. But that coffee chat that we had was incredibly enlightening for me. So yeah, I love that gift that you offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks for this entire chat. I know my listeners are going to love this. And yeah, I hope that they take you up on the coffee chat, take you up on the free book. Thank you for the work that you do in the world.
You're welcome. Thanks for showing up.